Welcome to Hard to Guard Radio, man.
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, we're just talking a little NBA, a little college basketball. We're talking about the Knicks and this great run, NBA reserves. So, what's going on with you, Mitch? Give us a little update. What's Mitch Richmond doing nowadays?
Hey, man, just been hanging, man. Helping with the kids. That's about it. Seeing my boys grow. Also coming out with a product, coming out with some headphones and some electronic products that I've been digging in for the product probably for the last year and a half, and ready to launch here soon.
Okay.
Mitch, I know.
Well,
I know you're a businessman.
MR2 is the name of the company. MR2 is the name of the company, and the products would be called Rock. My nickname and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Now listen, did you get that, Mitch? Did you get that in college at Kansas State, or where'd you get that nickname at?
I got that nickname actually in the pros.
Okay.
I was playing with Rod Higgins and Chris Mullen and some of the old cats with Ralph Sampson and Manute, and they gave me that name because I was every time I tried to go to the hole all the time, and the guys was bouncing off of me, so they gave me the name Rock. So.
Listen, Mitch, we remember all too well that Golden State team, the Run TMC, man. I mean, Edgar and I, growing up watching you guys, I can't even tell you, man. That team, we just felt that you were going to get to the finals with that team and take it because the talent was there. You guys were exciting,
No doubt about it. I mean, we had a great time. It was a great way to play. I mean, we had three guys that really could fill it up, and we also had other guys that could fill it up. We had Sharunas Marshall coming off the bench. Yeah. We had Mario Elie on that team. Rod Higgins was a 3-point shooter, so we had a lot of depth. And but it was a fun way to play because the only way it would work if we shared the ball, and that was the first thing Coach said to us. We got a lot of talent here, and how are we going to play? Everyone can get their shots. So we just got to share the ball, and it was a really, really true great time. I can remember Coach would come into the locker room and say, you know what, we're not going to call plays the first half unless you guys don't share the ball. So we're going to run motion the whole game. So it would throw teams off because they've been scouting us, for a couple of days and say, hey, they're going to run this and they're going to run that. But we would be just running motion, and they didn't know what to do. So it was really a fun way. Yeah.
And if you had a big man, you guys definitely would have been in the final.
Definitely.
Yeah, we were one or two players away. We had Ralph. Ralph was probably at the end of his career at that time.
Yeah.
We thought we could do it through the draft. We had a couple more players, and but then I got traded from there. But other than that, man, that was my favorite time of playing with a group of guys.
Now, Mario Elie, man, he's from my neighborhood, man, and he used to play the GOAT, Upper West Side, man. I don't know if he talked to you about the stories over there.
Oh,
that was some serious ball over there.
Yeah, I know all those stories. I know him growing up and, actually playing with Chris Mullen in high school. Then they transferred and went to another school. So, yeah, I got all those stories over there. And Mario, he can tell you about it, too.
Mario, he's a good guy, man. Now, Mitch, honestly, I used to debate this with a lot of friends, and most people sort of agreed. And, history is gone its different ways. But I think for playing on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, without a doubt, you were, just right below Mike, right next to Jordan as the best two-guard in the NBA.
Right.
And I'm just, it's a compliment, but it's also just, to me, it's factual. You know what I mean? Obviously, going to Sacramento, the team wasn't as great. But let me ask you, how was it every night you came out and played no matter what? So, what is it that, makes a player obviously just striving for greatness, but even when you're not necessarily winning, tell the audience what that is about, in terms of just, trying to be the best you can be no matter what.
Well, first of all, it was devastating for me, actually, to get traded because I was coming from a team that was so exciting. I was 2 or 3 players away, and then I get traded to Sacramento, where a team that had a lot of young players and really wasn't established or developed. So it was really a struggle. I mean, I took 2 or 3 days, I remember getting traded where I didn't know what to do. And I remember getting a call, and I can even tell you, I cried, man, because I didn't want to leave that team. And I can remember my mom calling me and saying, you got to cheer up. You're doing something you love to do. And the only thing that is different is that you're changing your jersey. And, it stuck with me. It took me a while to kind of, capture that. But when I went to Sacramento, I had a chip on my shoulder because, a lot of people probably thought that I wouldn't be able to do what I did in Sacramento, in Golden State. So I had a chip on my shoulder. So I took that, I took that edge, and I just tried to go every night, tried to go up against the opponent and take it out on the opponent. And I knew we didn't have chances to win the game, so I tried to play a game within the game. So I tried to not look at the score. I tried to go hard every minute, try to play hard every minute, and just enjoy what I did. And actually, it truly worked out for me because I just tried to continue to keep working hard. We ended up finally getting into the playoffs one year when we got Corliss Williamson, Brian Grant, Michael Smith, some of those other guys. But no doubt about it, was a struggle to play there, every night. But I got to give credit to the fans that they came out every night and supported the team that when it was bad. But I had never lost in my whole career of playing from high school to I got to that point, and then to lose like that for 4 or 5 years, man, was really, really frustrating and tough. But I just had to suck it up and just continue to play the game.
Now, during that time, who was there for you, because, it's hard. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Play. It's sometimes you want to just walk away because, nobody likes losing. So who was there for you, to keep you mentally right?
Man, that's a good question. I can remember saying when I got traded there that, is it any way that I can retire and then come back to another team? Because I was so young, I didn't even really know the rules. And they said when you retire, nope, they keep your rights. So when you come back, you got to come back to that team. So I was, even when the guy I got traded for, Billy Owens, is a good friend of mine at the time. He didn't want to go to the team. So it was tough, but I think my friends, my family, I had my family support there, and I had the man upstairs, actually praying for me every day, and I would pray, man, and just try to go out and play hard and play competitive every night.
Now, Mitch, I would love to see you as a GM one day. I know you worked with Chris Mullin at Golden State. Is that something down the road for you?
Yeah, we're still looking at that. Hopefully at some point in time I get back into it. I really enjoyed that, really working in the front office. I think we did some wonderful things of bringing that style of play back to Golden State when we acquired Baron Davis and Steven Jackson, Al Harrington. We had Jason Rich. I mean, we were loaded with Montel Ellis, and just like you said, I felt like even that team, we were just a couple pieces away, and then exploded from the bottom, and then they're back to where they're at now, but. Still got some good pieces, and my heart is still in Golden State because that's the first team that actually drafted me.
So let me fast forward your career a little bit. Mm-hmm. What was it like, at the end playing with the Lakers, man? What was that like?
You know what? It was kind of bittersweet. I felt that I could have. Definitely helped a little bit more, but we had a great team. Had Kobe being the young player he was, and actually had won 2 rings before I came. Shaq, dominant player. Had a great team, and just to add me to it, I felt that I still could have helped the team, but that didn't happen. So what I did was, I looked at it as that, I had my chance, I had my time. And, I had to take a step back and look at the guys who played behind me when I was actually in my prime. And and those guys cheered me on. So what I did was I suck it up and I cheered for the team. And, and I got a ring. I got a ring before I left the game. So it was kind of bittersweet, but I definitely, would cherish that of me getting the ring when so many great players haven't done that.
Yeah, I would ask you the same Larry Bird question. Who would you rather play with now, LeBron or Kobe?
Well, I've played with guys that we all average about 18 shots a game with Kobe and with Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway, and man, for me as a two guard, Kobe plays my position, and I would love to play with LeBron. I played with Kobe, so I would love to play with LeBron.
Right.
I had a chance to play with Kobe. I love playing with Kobe, and now I have an opportunity. If I had it, I would play with LeBron because he can play the point guard. He's a facilitator. He passes the ball. He does a lot of things that, as me, I shoot it. So, and I know all the guys who play with LeBron love playing with that guy, and also vice versa with Kobe, because
right.
I don't know. You're answering too many questions. One thing I get confused with, or try to tell people, is they need to stop putting Kobe and LeBron in the same, in that same thing where who's the best player or who's the best scorer, who's that. They're very different. You gotta put him in the category of a Magic Johnson, and LeBron is really not. He really wants to be a facilitator. He really doesn't want to score, but he's a great scorer. You know what I mean? And I think at times he really is willing to pass the ball when it gets down late, but he truly, we all know, has to come up big in the fourth quarter. But no doubt about it, when you got a guy of his specimen, if anybody played PlayStation, you try to build a player like him in your fantasy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With a guy with speed, with strength, with size, and a willing passer, and can score and can rebound. We build those guys on 2K11, 2K12, and he's that guy.
Well, let me ask you, Mitch, about talking about that. Do you we were talking about this the other day, and everybody brought it up with Kobe, and Edgar and I were talking about it. The greatest Laker of all time. You played with the Lakers, and people want to say it's Kobe. And, I still think about Magic, and I think everybody forgets about Kareem. Some say Jerry West. So, obviously, you were only there for a year or two, but what do you think when people talk about the greatest Laker?
Well, I think he definitely will go down as one of the best Lakers. I think, you got to understand it's we in this era now where it's tweeting, it's websites, it's all of this, and they forget about what was before them. So some kids don't even know who Magic Johnson is. They know his name, but they never really and truly saw him play. The same with Jerry West. They know his name, but they never really truly saw him play. So they get caught up in seeing Kobe, and that's the only Laker they have seen. So we forget about who was before those guys, and you forget about how great Kareem was. You forget about how great Magic was. And these kids would never know because they never played against them. And it's just like Michael Jordan. Everybody said he's better than Michael Jordan, but the kids today have never seen Michael Jordan play. They've seen him play, on tape, but they have never really seen him from his first day in the NBA to his last. You know what I mean? And I can remember, Michael, if you want to think about it, he probably could have got to the scoring championship. To the scoring title. How many years he retired? 2? Mm-hmm. How many years he retired? It came back. Was it a year or 2? I don't know.
Oh yeah, he missed a year and a half. He came back.
He missed a year and a half. He got hurt with his ankle and missed a year. And this is the telling point I tell people all the time. Michael could have got 81 points. Michael could have got 100 points. It was times where Michael had 40 and didn't play the fourth quarter. It was time Michael had 38 and didn't play, half of the third and the fourth, because they were that good with that 72 and 10 team. Mm-hmm. He didn't play some of the second half of those games. You know what I mean? And the rules was different. You could hand check You could, hold a guy. You could bump a guy coming through the lane. The rules have changed, and it's opened up a lot for the guys today to score. You look at the guys who score now, you would never think that some of those guys have 18,000 points or 20,000 points. That was hard to get to back in the day because you had to get beat up before you get 5,000 points. You know what I mean? So it was totally a different time, and they had to open up the game at the time because the game was struggling with scoring, and that opened up the European game, bring Dirk Nowitzki over into the Ginobils and the Petrovics and all these guys that can shoot because our game was lacking shooting.
Mitch, how many points you would average in today's game?
Well, I always tell people that Michael probably would have averaged 60. And I probably would average about 40. I probably would average 40. He probably would average about 60. I mean, the guy was already at 35.
Did you love those matchups, one-on-one, you and Mike?
I mean, you had.
What would he say to you? What would he say to you when you guys were playing?
You know what? We never. I mean, from the time I played Mike when I first got in the league, we never ever said one word to each other.
Wow.
We never said one word to each other. He knew I was going to fight him, and I knew he was going to fight me. And the thing about it is that was every night. It wasn't just Michael, but you had to truly to come with Michael. You had Reggie Miller that was going to run you off every screen. You had Clyde Drexler that was in his heyday. You had Dale Ellis didn't take one dribble and at the end of the night have 35. I mean, you had every guy. You had
Dale Curry.
Fight. Yeah, you had Dale Curry. You had to go down there and fight Dale. What was my man's name down there in San Antonio? Alvin Robinson was. Oh yeah, Alvin Robinson. I mean, every Ricky Pierce of Milwaukee, who was coming off the bench, averaging 22 points. I mean, Jeff Malone in Washington. I'm telling you, it was every night you had to come to play. Every night.
Yeah, as I say, I think that the games when you was playing, I think it was a lot tougher than what it is right now. I don't want to diss the players. The players right now are more athletic, but you guys were mentally tougher. Yeah,
the game was different. Definitely the game was different. Definitely these players are more athletic and high flying. But yeah, the game was different. It was a more physical game at the time, and you look at the players now. You don't probably have one big guy that has size, and that would be Dwight Howard with size and strength and all that. And you had a ton of those guys when we played that would knock your block off.
We've had Oakley and Davis and Antonio Davis on the show.
I mean, I hated playing New York because I love playing on the big stage, but you knew that you had Oakley, you had Mason, and then they had X-Man on that team.
Remember that?
And Patrick Ewing. So every time, and there was a rule at the time where if you're going through the lane, you can get bumped. And I say this every day. I think Pat Riley told his team that foul every play because they can't call everything. Because they fouled every play. I mean, every play they fouled.
And those old Piston teams were tough too.
Yeah, the Piston teams was tough. And back out west, it was Portland. Portland was really difficult. They played like
Buck Williams, Sabonis.
Yeah, they had Buck, and they had Crazy Kersey who running, and he hurt you in practice. I mean, they had too many guys, man. It was guys at every team, had dirt and was a bad dude, just waiting to hit somebody coming through the lane.
See, man, I mean, Edgar and I, growing up watching you guys, I can't even tell you, man. That team, we just felt that you were going to get to the finals with that team and take it because the talent was there. You guys were exciting.
No doubt about it. I mean, we had a great time. It was a great way to play. I mean, we had three guys that really could fill it up, and we also had other guys that could fill it up.
Where'd you get that nickname at?
I got that nickname actually in the pros. I was playing with Rod Higgins and Chris Mullen and some of the old cats with Ralph Sampson and Manute, and And they gave me that name because I was every time I tried to go to the hole all the time, and they said the guys was bouncing off of me, so they gave me the name Rock. So,
listen, Mitch, we remember all too well that Golden State team, the run team. Welcome to Hard to Guard Radio, man.
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh man, we're just talking a little NBA, a little college basketball. We're talking about the Knicks and this great run. NBA reserves. So, what's going on with you, Mitch? Give us a little update. What's Mitch Richmond doing nowadays?
Hey, man, just been hanging, man. Helping with the kids. That's about it. Seeing my boys grow. Also coming out with we have Sharunas Marshall coming off the bench. Yeah. We had Mario Ellie on that team. Rod Higgins was a 3-point shooter. So we had a lot of depth. And but it was a fun way to play because the only way it would work if we shared the ball, and that was the first thing Coach said to us. We got a lot of talent here, and how we going to play? Everyone can get their shots, so we just got to share the ball. And it was a really, really true product. Coming out with some headphones and some electronic products that I've been digging in for the product probably for the last year and a half, and ready to launch here soon.
Okay.
Mitch, I know. I know you're a businessman.
MR2 is the name of the company. MR2 is the name of the company, and the products would be called Rock. My nickname and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Now listen, did you get that in college at Kansas